Your heart has been beating since before you were born, approximately 100,000 times per day, 40 million times per year, and it will beat roughly 3 billion times over the course of your lifetime without ever stopping for maintenance, without ever taking a break, without ever asking for anything in return. But here's what most people do not know. The pace at which your heart ages is not fixed. It is not determined by your genetics or your chronological age. It is determined by your daily habits, and specifically by 5 biological processes that most people are accelerating without knowing it. Your heart may be chronologically 55, but its biological age could be 65 or 45. The difference is not luck, it is biology, and today we are going to explain exactly what drives it. But first, I need to tell you something about how your heart actually ages at the cellular level, because most people have a completely wrong model. Most people think heart disease develops suddenly, a blockage forms, a heart attack happens, but that is the final event of a process that started decades earlier. Heart aging is not an event, it is a process, and it operates through 4 specific mechanisms that run continuously in the background of your daily life. The first is arterial stiffening, the gradual loss of elasticity in your arteries as the collagen and elastin fibers in the arterial walls are damaged by inflammation, oxidative stress, and glycation. Stiff arteries force your heart to work harder with every beat, gradually enlarging the left ventricle and reducing cardiac efficiency over decades. The second is endothelial dysfunction, the progressive impairment of the cells lining your blood vessels, which normally produce nitric oxide to regulate blood vessel diameter and prevent clotting. When endothelial function declines, blood pressure rises, inflammation increases, and atherosclerotic plaques begin forming even in the absence of high cholesterol. The third is mitochondrial decline, the gradual loss of mitochondrial number and efficiency in heart muscle cells, reducing the energy available for cardiac contraction. The fourth is chronic low-grade inflammation, the systemic inflammatory state that drives all 3 of the above simultaneously. Understanding these 4 mechanisms is understanding why your heart ages and what specifically accelerates or slows that process. Here is what is aging your heart faster than it should be, and this is where it gets genuinely alarming. The first accelerator is blood sugar volatility, not just high blood sugar that spikes and crashes repeatedly throughout the day. Every blood sugar spike triggers a corresponding insulin surge, and every insulin surge promotes inflammation in the arterial endothelium, the lining of your blood vessels. Over years, this cycle creates endothelial dysfunction, promotes the formation of atherosclerotic plaques, and drives arterial stiffening through a process called glycation, where excess glucose binds to proteins in the arterial wall and permanently alters their structure. Research published in 2025 in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology confirmed that blood sugar variability, the amplitude of daily blood sugar swings, was a stronger predictor of cardiovascular aging than average blood sugar levels. It is not just about being diabetic. It is about how dramatically your blood sugar swings throughout the day. And the modern diet, refined carbohydrates, fruit juice, sugary snacks, cereals, creates exactly the blood sugar volatility that ages your arteries fastest. The second accelerator is chronic elevated cortisol. Cortisol, which we have covered extensively on this channel, has a direct and well-documented effect on cardiovascular aging. Chronically elevated cortisol increases heart rate and blood pressure. It promotes arterial inflammation. It accelerates the formation of atherosclerotic plaques. It drives visceral fat accumulation, and visceral fat itself produces inflammatory cytokines that directly attack arterial endothelium. A 2025 meta-analysis confirmed that adults with chronically elevated cortisol had measurably higher rates of arterial stiffness and cardiovascular events, independent of traditional risk factors like cholesterol and blood pressure. Your stress level is aging your heart, not metaphorically, mechanistically. And now, the twist that most people never expect. Poor sleep is one of the most powerful cardiovascular aging accelerators available in modern life. During deep, slow wave sleep, your heart rate drops, your blood pressure falls, your arteries get a rest from the mechanical stress of high pressure blood flow, and your body runs anti-inflammatory repair protocols that protect the endothelium. When sleep is disrupted by screens, by stress, by alcohol, by inconsistent sleep timing, your cardiovascular system never gets this repair window. Research published in 2025 in the European Heart Journal confirmed that adults sleeping less than 6 hours per night had a 20% higher risk of cardiovascular events compared to those sleeping 7 to 8 hours, and that this risk was mediated primarily through elevated inflammatory markers and impaired endothelial function. You cannot exercise your way out of chronic sleep deprivation's cardiovascular damage. The repair that happens during deep sleep cannot be replicated by any any other intervention. Now here is the additional piece that most people find completely unexpected. Sitting is a cardiovascular aging accelerator that operates independently of exercise. Research consistently shows that adults who sit for more than 8 hours per day, even those who exercise regularly, have measurably higher arterial stiffness, worse endothelial function, and higher inflammatory markers than those who move regularly throughout the day. The mechanism is the same as with stretching. Prolonged sitting reduces circulation, creates venous pooling in the lower body, and generates a chronic low-grade inflammatory state from mechanical compression of blood vessels. Exercise at the gym does not undo 8 hours of sitting, but breaking up sitting with 5 minutes of movement every hour produces measurable improvements in vascular function that continuous sitting eliminates even when followed by vigorous exercise. And now the final twist, the one that reframes everything about heart aging. Your heart is not aging on a fixed schedule. It is responding to signals. The signal of blood sugar stability or volatility, the signal of cortisol elevation or cortisol baseline management, the signal of deep sleep or fragmented light sleep, the signal of regular movement or prolonged sitting, and the signal of inflammation driven by seed oils, ultra-processed food, and visceral fat or the absence of it. Every intervention we cover on this channel, fasting to lower insulin and blood sugar, walking to reduce cortisol and improve circulation, sleep protection, anti-inflammatory diet, is simultaneously a cardiovascular intervention. Your heart is the organ that pays the price for every metabolic compromise you make, and it is the organ that benefits most when you stop making them. Here is your heart protocol starting today. Eliminate the blood sugar volatility that drives arterial glycation. No refined carbohydrates first thing in the morning, no fruit juice, no sugary snacks between meals. Walk after every meal to blunt post-meal blood sugar spikes. 10 minutes is enough. Protect your sleep, 7 to 9 hours. Cool room, no screens. 60 minutes before bed, because the cardiovascular repair that happens during deep sleep cannot be replicated. Break up prolonged sitting with 5 minutes of movement every hour, and lower your cortisol baseline through fasting, through stress management, through the morning habits we covered in a previous video. These are not hard interventions in isolation. They are metabolic interventions that protect your heart as a direct consequence. Drop a comment and tell me, did you know poor sleep was aging your heart this directly? I want to know. And if this video made you think about your cardiovascular health differently, subscribe.